Well, we uploaded to the site.
Everybody ready? We'll give y'all a second to grab your seats. All right, you ready? I call the meeting to order for the Budget Fiscal Management Committee meeting. It is Wednesday, September 24th, 2025, and it is 5:03 p.m. I guess I would like Reverend Wallace to please lead us in prayer.
Let us pray. Father, we're grateful. God, we love you. God, we give you thanks for you are awesome in all of your ways. And God, we are just grateful that you've given us the opportunity to be here on tonight, because us being here, Father, is simply, it shows, God, of your goodness, your greatness, and your graciousness. And so, Father, as we are conducting this meeting on tonight, we ask that you would just guide our hearts and our minds, God, as we read and as we hear information, Lord. Lead us and guide us as to what decisions to make, Father, that will be a blessing, Father, to this district, Father, and help to move this district forward in whatever capacity needed, Father. We ask that you have your way, that you will get the glory, Lord, out of all that we do. It's in Jesus Christ's name that we pray. Amen.
Mr. Horst, please listen to the pledge. I pledge allegiance to the
flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Mr. Bent, would you please do roll call?
Yes. Mr. Natale?
Here.
Mr. Abanion? Here. Ms. Aya?
Here.
Mr. Grubb?
Here.
Mr. Castillo?
Here.
Ms. Martin McReynolds?
Here.
Mr. Peachon? Here. Okay. Mr. Wallace? Reverend Wallace?
Here.
And Dr. Washington?
Present.
Mr. Baumgartner?
This is on its way. He'll be here in a second.
Oh, okay. Ms. Fontenot?
Here.
Mr. Hardesty?
Here.
Mr. Roberts?
Here.
Ms. Gay?
Here.
Mr. Tarver? Okay.
All right, thank you. First item on the agenda is 2025-26 General Fund Budget Revision Number 1. Ben?
Budget revision number 1, it includes the changes that are made to date. Major increases are we had an insurance recovery, and that was also applied to the maintenance budget. There were some career development funds that came out of the MFP, which increased the budget for the tech department. And there were encumbrance rollovers from the prior year budget in the amount of $978,000 and some change. The budget revision one projects a current deficiency of $1.3 million, resulting in a projected unassigned fund balance of $31.2 million, or 18.4% of projected revenues. And we ask that you approve the budget revision number 1.
So moved.
Second.
All right.
Okay.
Moved by Mr. Grove. Second by Mr. Owens. I'm sorry. Mr. Grove, all in favor?
Aye.
All opposed?
Okay, moving on to item number 2, the annual comprehensive financial report for the 2023-2024 year. You have a paper copy of the presentation. Looks like this. We'll go through that. I'll get it on the screen. Sorry about that. Okay. I think each of you has a copy of the annual report, which looks like this. Okay. This is for the 23-24 year. This slide delineates the different components, management's discussion and analysis of the year, the government-wide statements, statement of net position, statement of activities. Those of you that have gone through this before will recognize that. As far as the statement of net position, this summarizes and compares the 23-24 year with the 22-23 year. Shows that the total net assets actually decreased. A big part of that was because of the accrued liabilities with the OPEB, and that's the other post-employment benefits and so on and so forth. The adjustments there for the actuarial positions. We did increase our total assets and deferred outflows, decreased our total liabilities and deferred inflows rather. resulting in that decrease in the total net assets. Does anybody have any questions at this point? Okay, next slide shows the capital assets. And that just has to do with the change in our hard assets, so to speak, accumulated depreciation, and then it compares with the June 23 restated net assets. There's some adjustments that had to be made as a result of their 2024 work. Next is the statement of activities. That is.
I have a question. What does land refer to on here?
That is all the land that we own.
Okay, this board ownership.
That's correct, that's correct. The land under the schools, the land that doesn't have any schools on section 16 land, et cetera, et cetera. The statement of activities, that kind of summarizes what you'll find in the ACFR, the Annual Comprehensive Financial Report. It has a somewhat different presentation, but those of you that have been through this before understand what that it shows the revenues and then it shows the expenses in general across all of our funds and the results of those particular activities. In this case, our change in that position increased by $91 million. Of course, our net position, because of the benefit accruals for health insurance and teachers' retirement, does show a considerable negative net ending position. The next slide explains the different sections in the ACFR. Mentions the different fund groups that are both combined in the ACFR, and in the back they're showing the details of the different individual funds. The general fund balance in total at the end of last year was $110 million. And the next slide shows the different things that have happened over the years, how it's increased, and so on and so forth. Last year's was 110 million. The year before that was 105 million. Most of that increase was due to sales tax money. And as I mentioned, this is just the general fund. And the next slide shows basically a graph of what I just explained. This is a summary of the revenues, expenditures, and the changes in fund balance. It shows that it increased by that 5.2 billion in general fund. And once again, that is primarily due to the sales tax increases last year, or in 2024. This is a comparative slide showing over the years how it has been affected. Are there any questions at this point? The next slide shows the general fund revenues, comparative between 23 and 24. It shows that for the most part, because of the increase in the sales taxes at the local level, then the MFP also went up. There's also there's an increase in other grants from the state for the supplements and that sort of thing that they granted at the state level that are shown here, and that's the biggest reason for the increases there. And this is just a graph showing the different percentages of those particular categories. The general fund expenditures in millions, that shows the different object categories. Our report is generally reported on at the function level, which is regular instruction, special ed instruction, vocational ed instructions, and so on and so forth. This shows the different components that are contained within those different categories across all of the categories, and a comparative for prior years to show you the changes. The biggest change there was, of course, salaries, because of the supplements that were paid, sales tax supplements that were paid. And the next graph shows the bar, well, a circular graph, that same information. This is a slide of that same information in percentages, as is the circular graph. This is this next graph shows the salaries across the different function areas in general. As it mentions, it shows the current year, 23-24, as opposed to the previous years. The next slide shows the different amounts in the circle graph. And this slide shows this percentage overall. And this is a percentage in the circle graph. The next slide shows the revenue changes over the last 5 years in the bar graph, as well as the expenditures. The next one starts to show the special revenue funds. The school lunch fund is one significant fund that is not grant related, so it generally carries a fund balance. Most of the special revenue funds, we spend as much as we get in reimbursement, with the exception of 1 or 2 funds that the revenue is based on contact hours with the students, and we often spend less than we get paid for those contact hours. So that can result in a fund balance as well. This is, the next slide shows an analysis of the school lunch, which is over a 5-year period. The revenues and expenditures, since Ms. Richard's got here, she has really turned around the school lunch fund. They've done very well, and in fact, their fund balance has grown to a point where well, according to some standards, it's gotten a bit high. So in the future, that $1.2 million, that $1.2 million transfer may not be necessary. This is a bar graph on the revenue expenditure history. Same information, just in bar graph. This is the ratio of the fund balance to expenditure, showing the changes over the years. I believe this is the last year that school lunch is 100% CEP. We had that choice. So moving forward, Ms. Richard is going to monitor this to see if that changes. But right now, we're in a great position with school lunch, as this bar graph with the school lunch fund balance shows. Okay, the next slide shows the debt service fund balance by district. That is a good thing, because those fund balances are to be used to pay the debt coming due. Well, it has been used to pay the debt in the past year, as well as the additional villages. This is the general long-term debt, which is all of our bonded debt and excess revenue debt. And it shows the history over 23-24 as opposed to 22-23. And this is a bar graph, which indicates that very same thing in a visual form. Capital funds, capital projects fund balances, this lists all those capital projects fund balances at the end of the year. Group insurance fund balance summary. That 7877 in that slide should not be there, so please ignore that. But it shows that there has been a diminution of the fund balance, especially last year.
Mr. Dean.
Yes.
Question, can you go back to that capital project fund balance? If you don't mind.
Page 32.
Yes, sir.
Okay,
Is this in thousands, hundreds, or what, or am I reading that there's $65 in Iowa and District 25?
yeah, that is dollars.
Okay. Wasn't sure about that. Okay.
And that is due to interest that they had earned at one point. They spent all the money, but there was some interest that lingered in there.
Okay. That'll work. It was odd, cancel that question.
Yeah.
I have a couple of questions, actually.
Sure.
On, page 15, which is the general fund expenditures. Under other items, there was a very large increase from the 22-23 year, and I don't know if you had any notes. I'll explain, why.
I did research that, but right now I am not understanding that. I cannot remember what that was. I will get that information to you though.
Okay.
It does fluctuate over the years.
About 16 million
Increase, yeah.
increase. Just curious, when you look at all the other ones, and you throw up 21, 22, obviously there was something there, and then 23, 24, compared to the other 3 years, it just seems off, so.
Right, I
Just
understand.
curious.
I understand.
And also on page 30, do the, some of the bond transactions for long-term debt, does that include the money that we borrowed for the hurricane repairs as well?
That does, yes, it does. On page 34, that shows the insurance fund operating results. It does indicate that there has been a substantial increase in operating expenses, while the revenues have not increased significantly. I know in May, there was a premium increase, May of 25, there was a premium increase. But of course, none of that is reflected here. But our costs have gone up, and I know from what the preliminary results for 25, we did break a $70 million operating expenditure barrier. So that is something we'll need to look at.
Okay. Mr. Burrow, you got a question?
Does that increase tied in, does that include the increase in what we're paying, not only in property premiums, but also the amount that the board decided to absorb on the health insurance?
That, as far as the property premiums, I'm not quite sure that's the case, but that's all operating expenses that run through there, so.
Because that was a big chunk that we absorbed on that, so that number isn't in that, isn't it? I mean, that would be an operating expense. Am I non-CPA money.
Okay, well, when you say the property,
Like our insurance premium for the buildings and car, buses and all that kind of stuff. We had a pretty good size increase. It was less than was anticipated. Well, Jaden was able to negotiate it down, but it's still more.
right,
But
but you're not referring to, group insurance. This is group insurance. Is that the one you're talking
I'm
about?
talking about both of them. Both of those,
Oh.
when you roll them all up into the bigger picture, it's gonna come in under operating expenses, correct?
Right, yes,
Well, that's what I'm saying. So if that number is going up, a lot of that has to do with those two big ticket items.
right, yes, you mean for the general fund?
Right.
Yes, yes. All of that would be included in the general fund expenditures.
Which would account for the increases that you're talking about. For
Well, this is just the, group, insurance. So this is claims, administrative costs, et cetera, et cetera.
Oh, you're talking about just, okay, never mind. All right.
Yeah.
I had my, I was looking at another slide and you mentioned that. Never mind. All right, I'm sure.
Yeah, I see. But as far as the other, increase, that they would be, reflected in those expenditures. This is comparative for the group insurance. The bar graph, same thing. It's a net position history, which is showing that it is degrading a bit. Workers' comp, ever since Skylar and now Jay, that has been doing swimmingly well. In fact, our fund balance is way more than is recommended. So now when we often turn off the workers' comp rates because there's too much fund balance in there according to industry standards. So the workers' compensation fund is doing well. So, but we do need to erode that fund balance. So if you do see a negative figure, I believe the next operating results in the next slide indicate that the net income, well, it actually went up, but last year we had turned it off for the first half of the year. They decided to turn it on for the second half of the year because they weren't quite sure how it was going to work out. But obviously it worked out really well. But for the upcoming year, we have turned it off again in order to erode that ending net position, because that ending net position should really only have, we're thinking at most 1.5 million, but it's got 4.7. So over the next few years, you can expect to see a decrease in the net income from operations. The next slide indicates or has a comparative view, reflects the same information. It's a graph of the changes in the expenditures and revenues. This is for the net position, which shows it's held pretty steady. We do need to get that down below what it is now. And that is a quick and dirty synopsis. As far as the reporting awards, due to the lateness of this report, we weren't able to get these awards. I plan on changing that for this year. And as far as the audit summary, we did get an unmodified audit opinion, so the results are, as the auditors say, they do reflect accurate results. They show that we do have a solid financial condition, and that we have had good accountability for funds as reflected in the audit report. And I'd like to thank Keegan, because he certainly helped put all this together, and of course the accounting department that I used to be over. I'd like to thank them for all the work that they did. Does anybody have any questions?
Yes, Bill.
So where did y'all come up with the 1.5 million for this workers' comp fund whenever we're transferring out? You said you're getting position, y'all want about 1.5 million, the last 5 years, we've never transferred out 1.5 million, so we're gonna still got to keep collecting the 2 point something million.
Well, the idea is to erode it over time so that those charges aren't charged to the other funds. We do need, in my opinion, we need to turn off the rest of this year. Because the 1.5 million comes from an industry standard, which is roughly, you need 3 months of working capital, which is basically the net short-term assets, excuse me, less the short-term liabilities. And that works out to about 500,000. But for those unforeseen events, we're thinking that 1.5 million might be a more accurate fund balance. So yes, we do need to erode that over time. And we have turned off the, this year, I don't think we're gonna turn back on, the charges.
Anyone else have any questions? Mr. Mayor?
No, sure.
Yes, sir. On the, I know I talked to you about it earlier, but can you just hit real quick on the corrective action plans from the auditor?
Right, most of the,
Maybe Dr. Bentley.
Yeah, if you don't mind.
sure.
Yeah, so, that is something that, we can discuss as well. We plan on discussing that tonight to make sure we're transparent, make sure everybody's, on point. We generally post, and what we got to you today, is the annual comprehensive financial report. We don't generally post the single audit report the legislative auditor does, but they did give us, some things that we need to work on. One of them is lateness, right? We've been late, this is the 3rd year, and it's no coincidence that it's the same amount of time that we're filling out FEMA paperwork. One of the things that we're finding is when we have to go and expend money, let's say with FEMA, and then, so we have an expense that's occurred. We then have to turn around and file paperwork with them to get it back. A lot of times that may not come in the same fiscal year. And so what ends up happening is our money going in and our money coming out don't happen in the same year for that item. The accountants don't like that. But we try to get it as close as we can. And so what ends up happening is it takes us longer to clean up FEMA stuff. We do anticipate, I spoke with Mr. Ben already and Mr. Bourne today. We've only got 5 or 6 open projects left with FEMA. And so we anticipate this year being able to finish on time and hopefully be rolling again, just like we were before. When I asked why, I was like, okay, well, we've been late for 3 years. Yeah. Well, the hurricane's been 5 years. What happened the first? He said, well, for the first couple of years, we didn't get paid at all. He said, so there was nothing coming in. There was only money going out. He said, so there was nothing that didn't match because we only had stuff going out. And then the other thing is we tend to go up and down every year because of our assets. As something, for example, gets damaged, let's say we've got a school that is $20 million. If that school gets damaged, we have to impair the asset, which means basically we have to say it's not worth as much because it's damaged. We then turn around and have to come back and fix it. And then we have to turn around and adjust back up because now it's worth what it was before. So there's a good bit of adjustment up and down. Ideally, that won't happen as much when we don't have as much FEMA stuff going on and projects going on. So we've got a game plan. It's been a rough couple of years in terms of trying to get an audit out on time because of all the stuff we have going. But like I said, we do see a light at the end of the tunnel when we've got only 5 or 6 projects that are open at any given time.
And I just wanted to cover that. Just
Yes, sir.
For the public.
Yes,
We're
sir.
not missing $58 million.
We are not.
So,
No, and as you can see, the audit came back clean.
Right.
But they did tell us, hey, you got to be faster. And we said, yes, we know we have to be faster.
And like I said earlier, in fairness to Mr. Ben,
Right, yeah.
you're new to the job. It's not,
Well, and in fairness to Mr. Bourne too, like I said, it was,
he didn't do anything wrong either.
no, in the first, and like I said, even after the hurricane, that was an interesting question when we had that conversation. I said, well, what happened in 21? He said, well, we didn't get money. He said, we didn't get paid until October. of 21. He said, so auditing really didn't, they really didn't have a big problem with it because there wasn't a big conflict. So, yeah, but I did want to address that, like, yes. So,
Any additional questions, anyone? Mr. Bent, thank you very much for your information and your presentation. Very, very informative, easy to follow, and I like that you're doing the different colors, black and white, so.
Okay.
Made it easier for me.
Keep that in mind.
Moving on to item number 3, we have school audit reports. Paul?
Good evening. I won't be long because we don't have any significant deficiencies to report. These were clean audits. Doesn't mean they were without exception. They did have some exceptions, but after we had our exit conferences and I was able to grade the findings based on our risk matrix, or rubric, I should say, they were all passing audits, which is good because last time we didn't have that. So basically the audits that we have here, we have reviewed all receipts and disbursements, transfers, and we feel that based on our work program that the audit for the time period and the audit scope accurately reflects the fiscal position of the schools. And just for the record, I'll read them out. We completed CPAS West, Cypress Cove Elementary School, Frash Elementary, Gillis Elementary, W.T. Henning, Sam Houston High School, J.J. Johnson Elementary, LCB, J.I. Watson, Westlake High, and F.K. White Middle. Of course, accompanying the page here, after that we have all the exhibits that basically show, anytime we do an audit, it shows we do it for a particular scope. You're typically going to find high schools every 2 years, middle school every 3, and elementary every 5. And what you'll have in the preceding documents is just a consolidated report of the financial statements. So really it goes on for pages and pages, but we consolidate it to be a little more consumable for you to see. And give you an idea of how healthy the administrative balances are for the various schools that we audited. And so anyway, that's all I have, unless you have any questions.
Any questions, anyone? All right, I need a motion to adjourn.
So moved.
Second. All in favor, say aye. Aye. You guys want to come back in 5 minutes? They want to anybody to?
Right into it.
All right. I feel bad.
Yeah, whenever y'all ready, just let me know. Around roll. This man didn't go as long as I thought he was gonna go. I figured he'd put y'all to sleep without a number, so you would just say, yes, yes,
I
Everything is too high. I was looking at the price. Yeah. Yeah, after we start deciding.
Where am
Well, I'm all right.
Yeah.
I was trying. Yeah, but you know what? I didn't know that clearly. We would understand. We would have.
Good evening. This is the Administrative and Personnel Committee meeting for September 24th, 2025. Mr. Valentine, roll call, please.
Reverend Wallace. Here. Mr. Bumgarner. Here. Mr. Roberts.
Here.
Dr. Washington. Mr. O'Banion. Here. Mr. Peashaw. Here. Ms. Hardy McReynolds.
Here.
Mr. Brogue. Mr. Castile. Here. Ms. Ayo.
Here.
Ms. Gay.
Here.
Mr. Tarver. Ms. Fontenot.
Here.
Mr. Sally. Here. Mr. Hardesty.
Here.
Commissioner Barrington, do you want to take these individually or as a group?
We can, that's how we want to do it.
Here we go, we got it. You see how I did that? I got a motion. It's a hard seat. A motion, a second, Reverend Wallace. All right. Mr. Barrington.
Yes, sir. All right, we'll take the first policy we're talking about is instructional materials. Act 103 of the 2025 Louisiana Legislature revised this policy regarding access to instructional materials and adding access to online materials. Changes also included providing paper copies made on school equipment for reasonable fees. However, no fees shall be charged for in-person viewing or when a parent accesses materials online. No fee shall be charged for a parent who uses their own device capable of making copies. And this act also includes language that other materials may be made available at the discretion of the school board and that are required access, and that the required access to the instructional materials only applies to adopted curriculum. And that's it. That's all I have for my little synopsis on that policy right there.
Any questions on A? Questions? All right, moving on to B.
All right. Next one is expulsion. What you have in the booklet, and should be another a new copy next to you at your seat. A couple of you guys had called in, and we spoke a little bit about the language in this one. Got with Mr. Belfour, and on the on page 2 of the 7, he made a little change to that first paragraph that was added, and to make it hopefully a little bit more clear. And then what it also does is it refers you to the next page, on page 3, to item 3, which reads, any students in grades 6 through 12 found guilty of being in possession of tobacco, alcohol, or vaping product, or found guilty on the first occurrence of being in possession of marijuana, I'm not going to butcher that next one, or any chemical derivative thereof on school property or school bus or school-sponsored event may be recommended for expulsion. So hopefully the change that Mr. Belfour made on page 2, and it definitely refers to page 3, which really does, all it does is it keeps the administrators in control and really doesn't change anything that we do. The only other changes I'll talk to Mr. Roberts about on this one would be on page 2, the paragraph right above what was added, where they changed a minimum period of 4 complete school semesters to 2. Again, if that's something
I would like to propose an amendment to move that back to 4. It doesn't mean we have to do 4. I just think in the day and age we live in with, and I know this isn't just for firearms, but this is for drugs as well, with the fentanyl and marijuana, I don't want any student or employee to think that they get a pass.
Yes, sir.
Because as it was originally written, this policy was changed to that they wouldn't be expelled until their second offense. So I know we've added some changes to that. I was definitely not in favor of that, but I would still like to have the option for 4 semesters.
Okay.
And leave it up to the discretion of administration. If someone brings a gun,
I don't disagree. Understand, guys, this is coming from the state.
I'm not gonna get on the soapbox, but I just don't want to soften what we're doing. And if we get sued because we're not following the state, which I don't think any of this is really state. I know the state changed their gun laws, but they can't tell us what to do with our policy.
Well, I asked Mr. Belfour about that specifically. Anything that says it shall be, we really can't mess with that a whole lot, but anything else, which in this case, that is something
So
else.
4 to 2 is our discretion, and
I think so, yes.
I would appreciate if this committee would allow us to keep it at 4.
I'll make the change on policies and it'll be in the books like,
We got a second by Mr. Fisher.
yes, sir. I'll make the change and we'll have it in the book, that way in the board meeting on Saturday.
Okay, so we have an amendment to that. Any discussion?
Oh, well, here,
No, you,
Who's
I saw
our,
your hand.
okay.
Oh, I'm sorry, Linda.
oh, okay.
I totally agree with that, but my question is on number 3. There on page 3, can it be, instead of may be recommended for expulsion, shall be?
We can do that, Mr. Castillo. I spoke with Mr. Roberts, he said the same thing. The only thing, after doing it for 30 some odd years, my opinion on this, and, you know, we can do whatever you guys, of course, whatever you want. When you back yourself into a corner with the word shall, you never know. There's situations that might arise, that we don't even know about, might pop up. I would like to leave that the way it is, but again, if you guys want to go with shall, I'm fine with that as well.
I concur with you on that, and what we can do is, we can change it if the committee votes that way, and then we can always, if we find out that for the next full board meeting, that we need to change it back. Because we don't have an attorney here with us.
So on that, this is what the state recommends, but what do we do?
What do we do?
Yes,
Right now, it's in the hands of the principals, but I will say, I mean, if anybody is caught with marijuana on campus, it's typically, you're gonna go for an expulsion hearing. And, we go through the process, so
So we can mandate that?
you can, yes, sir. Yeah.
This is, by the
I
way,
think that's what they're doing anyway, but
Yeah, that's what
I
we're
just
doing.
wanted to make sure of that, but if we go to shall, it doesn't, I don't.
we end up putting them up anyway, and having a hearing anyway on those. This is to line up with Act 497. So basically, if you look up Act 497, that's the verbiage of this. So when we get policy sent to us by Forethought, because of a new state law, they try to make it align. So that's what this is. But in terms of how we do business, that's what we do is,
So Act 497 says will.
Act 497 says what we had originally. Yes, sir.
It mandates how many months, how many semesters that
Well, what it does is sets a cap, just kind of like what this does in terms of, you know, where you are. Yes,
I'd like to see that.
yes,
I'd like to see that language.
yes, sir. I can, yeah. All I did just now, because when we learned about this, it was at the law conference a couple weeks ago. And so all I did was Google Act 497, Louisiana 2025.
I'd like to see that as written, not just on a Google search, but as
Yes,
it's
sir.
written, because I really don't believe that our governor or our legislature would be soft on guns. Take away power from us on drugs as well. And so, back to the amendment. I'm sorry, go ahead.
Is there any way on that number 3 that we could split this up and say, possession of tobacco, alcohol, or vaping product may be recommended for expulsion if you're found of possession of marijuana, or anything else, that shall be recommended for expulsion? Can it be divided into 2?
We can, you guys can do one, whatever you want.
You'd like to propose that, and I can amend my amendment to read that way if you'd like, to make it easier.
Well, I mean, I just think that, you know, if they have a can of Skoal in their pocket, you know,
I get
I
you.
don't think they need to be up for expulsion necessarily.
And that's why,
But if they have marijuana in their pocket, I think they can be up for expulsion. If we're going to change the marijuana policy to shall, then I think we need to separate the 2 of them and not expel someone just because they have a can of Copenhagen in their pocket. So I'd like to make an amendment, I would like to make an amendment to this policy as well, to change it to say that any students in grades 6 through 12 found guilty of being in possession of tobacco, alcohol, or a vaping product on school property or a school bus or a school-sponsored event may be recommended for expulsion, with another line added.
Wait, I'm on. I don't mean to cut you off.
Yes, sir.
The vaping part, that if they bring a vape and they have TCH in it, marijuana in it, you might want to add that one in, because we get that a lot.
Oh, that's true, that's part of marijuana.
Yes, sir.
Okay, so can we do tobacco and alcohol?
Yes, sir. Absolutely.
On school property or school bus, may be recommended for expulsion. Vaping or found guilty on the first occurrence of marijuana shall be recommended for expulsion.
Yes,
So
sir.
that's my amendment.
Okay, Ms. Gay?
Okay. My only question to this is, I don't have a problem with shall, should, will, or whatever. However, if this is going to be our policy for these items, I don't want to get a call and say, so-and-so got in-school suspension and my son got put up for expulsion. I think they should be followed as they are written by every administrator in this district. No deviations from whatever we decide on tonight. That should be the law of Calcasieu Parish School Board.
By changing the word to shall, that kind of makes that so.
Okay,
Yeah.
that's the only thing, you know,
When
parents call. I don't want to hear that Johnny had the same thing I had, and they put him up for expulsion, and the other kid got in-school suspension. This is the law. What we're doing now is the law for this board. Am I correct? Okay.
That's what we do, the policy. You're right. Mr. O'Banion, do you want to speak?
No, that answered my question. I was gonna ask you to give an example, and
Mr.
the
Castillo,
may might be applicable, but I think that covers it.
can we, they sometimes will have a vape that has marijuana, and they'll sometimes have a vape that doesn't have marijuana. Do we want to distinguish those two?
Yeah, we can
Yes.
distinguish.
One,
whether they have
so,
marijuana.
Vape with marijuana, we're gonna put them up.
No, one,
Or with shall, and then if it's just a vape with,
I think
it doesn't have.
the thing is, marijuana, regardless of whether it's a vape or not.
Correct. I just want
So
to make sure.
we can keep vape away, one of the other two items in marijuana, and if that vape has marijuana in it, then it's marijuana.
Yes, sir. Okay.
Are they even old enough to have smoking devices? I don't care if it's marijuana in it or tobacco. Should they have that on campus?
No, ma'am, they should.
Okay, so,
We have.
Hold on one second.
We have elementary.
Mr. O'Banion still has the floor. Hold on.
One question, do we have a way, like at the school level, how do we know if a vape has THC or doesn't? I mean, is there?
We do have a hard time with that from time to time. Sheriff's Department helps us as much as possible, but, you know, it's tough.
Mr. Natale?
So, I guess my concern would be, if you have a senior and he's 18 years old, I don't know, oh, you have to buy cigarettes. 18, and he's got a pack of cigarettes on his dash, or she has it on the dash of their vehicle.
Yes, sir.
Does that mean they can be shouted or maybe put up for expulsion?
According to what you just said, it may.
Okay, because that's my concern. If it's legal and they can buy it by law,
Yes, sir.
it's not on their person, I don't.
That's why Mays.
But then the other problem is like, you know, your dress code. Different principals have different, they do whatever they want to do instead of following the code, so.
Yeah.
And part of it with things we should have to pay, and other part of these to be a shall, so.
They should be following what we have in the dress code. There are some deviations that they might have in their agendas on campus that add things to it, but that everybody should be following the dress code.
Ms. Gay?
can it be will? If you caught with a vaping device, you will be put up for expulsion. If you're caught with tobacco, a pack of cigarettes that you haven't opened, you will, because those are not things that they need at school to function at school. So they don't even have any reason to have them.
Yes, ma'am. Again, I will do whatever you want to do. I think right now what we have on the table is, tobacco and alcohol is, may, and marijuana is a shall, which takes care of what you just said, Ms. Gay.
And Ms. Gay, I agree with you 100% because we have different administrators that are always interpreting things and enforcing things different. And I truly believe that falls on the administration of CPSB to enforce that. And we can write it, but I think it's up to our principals to follow the leadership of this building. And if there's any questions in the case, whether it should be a shall or a will, and it needs to be distributed evenly across this parish, then that falls on the buck stops with our superintendent. And so we can't, it's hard for us to do that day-to-day stuff. I think if we write it this way, and Mr. Belfour, before next meeting, has some recommendations to change it, we can do so, but I think we need to write it the way we want to write it and put the burden on our superintendent to enforce it. So,
Mr. Belfort should be back Friday, I think, is what he told me. I'll let him know what you guys, what we decided tonight, and have him just make sure what we're gonna write is good.
okay.
And,
So I'm gonna withdraw my amendment so we only have to vote on one. If you will add the four, back to the 4 semesters to your amendment. So are you good with that, Mr. Barrington?
Yes, sir. No problem.
So any more discussion on, the amendment? Okay, so let's go ahead and vote on that. Yeah, go ahead.
Okay. So on page 207, where it says, form was in red, and it said 2 complete school semesters shall be referred. We're gonna change that back to a minimum of 4 complete school semesters. If they're called with those items, firearm, knife and blade, equal to or in excess of 2 1/2 inches in length, any illegal narcotic, drug, or other controlled substance on school property, on a school bus, or a school-sponsored event, pursuant to a hearing, schools shall be expelled from school for a minimum of 4 complete school semesters, and be referred to the district attorney for appropriate action. Then on page 3, number 3, we're gonna have any students in grades 6 through 12 found guilty of any possession of tobacco, alcohol, or vaping products on school property, with a school bus, or a school-sponsored event, may be recommended for expulsion. 3A would be any student in grades 6 through 12 found guilty of being in possession of, found guilty of the first occurrence of being in possession of marijuana, whatever, cannabinoid, or any chemical derivative thereof on school property, on a school bus, or a school-sponsored event may be recommended for expulsion.
All right, thank you. Thank you, Mr. Castillo. Okay, so, yeah, let's vote on Mr. Castillo's amendment. Second.
I'll second.
Don't we have a second? Okay. Mr. Callen, second. All right, all in favor, say aye.
Aye.
All opposed, nay. Motion, the amendment passes unanimously.
Right, we ready for the next one, Ms. Robert?
Child abuse?
Child abuse, yes, sir. All right, Act 195, revised the Children's Code articles of 603 and 610, changing the language, addressing school resource officers and their reporting procedures. New language provides that any school resource officer that suspects child abuse or neglect, or if a mandatory reporter of child abuse reports suspected child abuse to a resource officer, the school resource officer shall immediately notify the officers employing law enforcement agency or the Department of Children and Family Services. The officer's employer shall assign the investigation of the matter to the most appropriate law enforcement officer, who may be the school resource officer. So it's pretty much what it used to be. They changed it, and now we're back to where it was before. to be honest with you folks.
Any questions? All right, moving on to D.
Okay. All right. Behavioral health support for students. Act 504 requires that each public school make available to each student in grades 3 through 12 a mental health assessment by a licensed behavioral health provider, so long as it is annually authorized by his or her parent or legal guardian. The act defines licensed behavioral health provider and where a list of providers may be located. The assessments shall be provided to the appropriate students at no cost to the school board. Checked with Ms. Biondini and Mr. Hill, they kind of got ahead of this quite a while back. We already are taking care of this. Imperial Calshute, Southwest Louisiana Youth Foundation, Director of Mental Health Facilities in Calshute Parish, Individual and Family Counseling Services, all kind of help us out. This is a flyer that anybody that comes in that wants to have a survey, they have the QR codes that they can go to and receive that service if they so wish.
Questions? Moving on.
Okay.
E, absences and excuses.
Absences and excuses. Bessie Revised Bulletin 741, Louisiana Handbook for School Administrators, changing the definitions for absences. Policy absences and excuses reflect the revisions made by Bessie. The new language in section 105 of Bulletin 741 divides absences into 3 categories: excused absences, unexcused absences, and suspension and expulsion. It also specifies that a student who is absent, including a suspended student, shall be allowed to submit assignments and tests and eligible to receive the same academic credit and grades originally available when the work is completed satisfactorily and in a timely manner. That's all I have on that.
Discussion. All right, moving on. F,
Okay. This is the acceptable use policy. Act 686 revised numerous statutes to remove language addressing instruction to students and training for teachers. The act also authorized the Board of Elementary and Secondary Education to promulgate rules for instructional and training requirements. The act addressed students' training for internet and cell phone use, which has been deleted from the computer access and use policy. We've been asking for years, there's so many trainings and different things that we have to do at the school level. Either the teachers have to do a training or we have to give trainings that we've been asking for years that they kind of dial it back. And this is one of those things, and the next one's another one of those things that they're kind of dial it back a little bit. We still do a digital citizenship, which is basically the same thing. We do that at the beginning of the year with the students. It's just not going to be the length of time that we used to have to do things. So this is a good thing for us.
any questions? All right, moving on, last one.
Okay.
Glenn and Hazen.
Glenn Hazen. This is same thing. Act 686. It removed the teacher training portion on bullying and hazing, from which it has been deleted from this policy. If you look, let's see. Page 8, it talks about a minimum of 4-hour training for all new employees and 2-hour training for subsequent years after that. So it removed that, but we also do a training at the beginning of the year on our virtual days for all our employees. That is not a 4-hour or 2-hour length training, but we go over it, and we also do training for our students at the school level with all the administrators, because that is a definite hot topic everywhere you go. So we still need to hit it. We just don't have to hit it for 4 hours like we
That's a state change.
Yes, sir. Yeah.
I just find it out and make it soft. You know, so much negative comes out of that.
Most of the trainings that are out there, they don't take 4 hours to do. And you definitely gonna cover the policy and what your responsibility is as a teacher to do, and then everybody else in the building. You can definitely get it done in less time, and that's all it really
That's
does.
just at the beginning of the year, there's no refreshers, no anything.
No, that's what I'm saying, we do, we have a refresher each
Right.
year, yeah, each year, it's just like the ethics, but everything that we do each year, this is one of those things that we do. And we go over it with the students as well. The administrators have to go over that with the student body and the parents as well. So,
Any questions on Chief? Ms. Gay?
Yes, I don't have a question, but I'd just like to make a statement or recommend something.
yes, ma'am.
This is a lot for us to read through and comprehend. Is that any kind of way that your department or staff could come up with a quick sheet so that parents can go right to this with different headings, know what the penalties are, maybe 2 or 3 pages? I wouldn't expect a parent to know all of this, but if they know the things that we're really concerned about, the bullying, the drug use, the weapons, this kind of stuff, so that they can look at it, they can go to that, and with a statement saying, if you need more detail about what, then you can go to the school board policy book and look for it yourself. But I think a lot of parents, I wouldn't want to sit up and read this, you know.
You'd be surprised how many do, Ms. Gay.
Well, they do because they're looking for something, but if they had a couple of sheets that they could look at, maybe post it on the webpage.
So you want me to go through the entire policy?
The same kind of things that we talked about tonight and we voted on, just those kind of things. The vaping, the bullying, the hazing. We don't have to give them everything,
Yeah.
but we need to give them just a glimpse of what happens if your child breaks any one of these rules.
Yes, ma'am.
You know, and they can always call you. So instead of all these phone calls,
Yeah.
they can say, if they catch you with that vaping thing at school, go be up for expulsion or something, but you have to read through it and then ask questions later. Is that possible?
Well, your code of conduct and your student handbook,
But that's what we tell them all the time.
yeah, that, everything that you're talking about is in those 2 documents, and it's
You've simplified it for them already?
yes, ma'am.
Okay, see, I don't have any students, it's been a long time.
Yeah, their handbooks that they have on the campus and the code of conduct. is-
Oh, okay, as long as they don't have to go through the whole
Yeah.
chapter to see what,
Really,
Consequences.
the code of conduct, has everything kind of laid out with what's gonna happen, what could happen, and then you have to read through all of that, and you have to sign that at the beginning.
oh, okay, so they already get it, you give it to them, okay. Okay,
All right.
good.
Any other discussion, questions? Okay, we're gonna vote on policy updates and revisions A to G. All in favor, say aye. All opposed, nay. Motion passes unanimously. I want to thank the board for great discussion on expulsions. I think that was really good that we all kind of united on that. Guns and drugs, and I appreciate that. So everybody showing up tonight too. So, motion to adjourn. Mr. Daniel, second by Ms. Faulkner. All in favor, say aye. Opposed, nay. Motion passes.
Let me stop you. Yeah, I'll do that.
I told you, go home. You have no-
Yes,
Yeah.
You about to get me started. Yeah, that's right. Will you take care of her?